Welcome to the Explainer. If you're a New York notary, that commission is a pretty powerful credential, but renewing it? Yeah, that can feel like wandering through a bureaucratic maze. Today, we're going to break down the exact step-by-step masterclass on how to get your commission renewed, plus we're diving into some massive new compliance changes you literally cannot afford to miss.
Because, look, a lot of folks think letting their commission lapse for a few weeks is, no big deal, just a tiny administrative hiccup, right? Wrong. A lapsed commission isn't just an inconvenience, it is a massive legal liability. If you keep stamping documents after that expiration date, you are actively exposing yourself, your boss, and your clients to some major risks. We're talking invalidated legal documents, potential fraud, and even identity theft. The stakes here are incredibly high.
Actually, I found this part of the penal law fascinating and honestly a little intimidating. In New York, a notary is legally considered a public servant. So under New York Penal Law Section 195.00, if you knowingly skip out on a duty the law imposes on you, you could be guilty of official misconduct. And guys, that's not just a slap on the wrist, that's a Class A misdemeanor. Failing to follow the state's regulations, like not keeping proper records or having a valid commission, carries actual criminal penalties.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today so you know exactly where we're headed. First, the stakes and notary basics. Second, eligibility and exemption rules. Third, the step-by-step renewal process. Fourth, the strict new journal mandates. Fifth, some real-world workplace scenarios. And finally, number 6, the benefits of timely renewal.
All right, moving right into Section 1, Stakes and Notary Basics.
So it's absolutely crucial to ground ourselves in exactly what a notary actually does. Understanding your role kind of explains why the state regulates this whole process so heavily. At its core, a notary public is a neutral public officer. Even if your boss paid for your commission, or say you're a lawyer notarizing a document at a real estate closing, in that specific moment, you aren't acting as an advocate for your boss or your client. You're acting on behalf of the state of New York to witness official acts and prevent forgery. Because your ultimate duty is to the general public, the state requires absolute strictness in how you maintain and renew your credentials.
Which brings us to Section 2, eligibility and exemption rules. Before you even think about logging into the system to renew, we need to make sure you still meet the state's baseline criteria. The basics are pretty straightforward, right? You got to be at least 18, possess a common school education, and have good moral character. But the thing that really stands out here is the residency rule. You have to be a New York resident or maintain a physical office or place of business right there within New York State. So if you're an out-of-state resident who used to commute to New York, but your company closed its NY office and now you work totally remotely from your home state, you actually vacate your office as a New York notary.
And, I was actually surprised to learn just how many people misunderstand the professional exemptions. Standard applicants have to pass a written exam to get their initial commission. New York admitted attorneys and qualifying court clerks get to bypass that exam. But here's the catch. Bypassing the exam does not mean you get to bypass the renewal. Those exempt professionals still have to complete the renewal application, sign the oath of office, and pay that mandatory $60 fee every 4 years, just like everybody else.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3, Step-by-Step Renewal Process.
We're going to get highly instructional here, so let's visually map out the timeline for your commission. Your renewal window officially opens up 90 days before your expiration date. Now, the literal second you hit that expiration date, you must stop notarizing immediately. Absolutely no exceptions. But the state does give you a 6-month grace period right after that date. If you get your renewal done within those 6 months, you completely avoid having to retake the written exam. Just keep in mind, during those 6 months, you still cannot legally notarize a single thing until that renewal is fully approved.
Now, for my veteran notaries out there, here is the biggest shift. As of June 30th, 2023, the old school method of heading down to the county clerk to renew, it's completely dead. The New York State executive law was amended, and today all renewals have to be processed through the NYS Secretary of State using their online portal, which is called NY Business Express.
Let's move to the next step and see how this builds, because this digital process is actually designed to be pretty frictionless. It breaks down into 4 easy steps. Number 1, log into the NY Business Express portal using your ny.gov ID. 2, update your personal and business info. And here's a pro tip for you. Your address becomes public record under the Freedom of Information Law, so if you want to keep your home address private, definitely list a physical business address instead. Number 3, upload your notarized oath of office.
And 4, submit it all with your online payment.
Okay, let's zoom in on step 3 for a second, because this is where a ton of applications actually get rejected. This form is your oath of office. Guys, you cannot just sign this and snap a picture of it with your phone to upload. No way! You must physically swear this oath in front of another commissioned notary, have them stamp it, and then scan that completed document as a single-page PDF file. The portal will absolutely reject any photographic formats, so make sure it's a PDF. Finally, to wrap up your online submission, you just need to pay the mandatory, non-refundable renewal fee, which is $60. The NY Business Express portal makes it easy. You can pay electronically with a credit card or an e-check. Just make sure to save a digital receipt of that payment for your own records.
Moving on to Section 4, Strict New Journal Mandates.
So, you've submitted your renewal. You're good for another 4 years. Awesome. But wait, how you operate day-to-day has also changed pretty dramatically. The state of New York now demands that you keep a contemporaneous journal for all notarial acts. And yes, that means both traditional paper and electronic notarizations. Literally, every single time you lift your stamp, you have to record the exact date and approximate time, the type of act, the name and address of the signer, the specific ID that used, the number of services you provided, and the fee you charged. You must fill this out right then and there at the time of the notarization. Please don't put it off until the end of the week. This is absolutely critical.
And speaking of fees, your journal has to accurately reflect exactly what you charged. Now in New York, charging a fee is totally optional. You can absolutely notarize for free if you want to. But if you do charge, the maximum limits are super strict. For a traditional in-person notarization, the cap is exactly $2 per act. If you're registered for and performing a remote online notarization or RON, that cap jumps up to $25 per act.
Now here is a number you absolutely need to burn into your memory. 10. These detailed journals we just talked about, you must securely maintain them for a minimum of 10 years. 10 years! Plus, they have to be stored in a way where you can immediately produce them if the Secretary of State ever comes knocking and requests them. Think of these journals as your ultimate defense. If a document you notarized is ever challenged in court for fraud, this journal is your best friend.
Okay, let's look at Section 5, Real-World Workplace Scenarios.
Now, what's really interesting about this is what happens when state rules collide with everyday office dynamics. Honestly, things get messy fast. We see these micro-narratives popping up on notary forms all the time. Imagine this. An employee gets commissioned just to help out around the office. The company generously pays the $60 fee and buys the stamp. Well, a year later, that employee decides to quit. Suddenly, the boss demands the employee leave the journal and the stamp behind, or even threatens to deduct the costs of the supplies from their final paycheck. So what does the actual law say about this?
Well, the answer is absolute. This seal and the journal belong strictly to you, the notary. Even if your employer paid for every single thing, you are the commissioned public officer. You take those tools with you when you leave. Oh, and by the way, you cannot share your stamp or your journal with a coworker while you go on vacation just to keep business moving. Doing that is a severe violation of the law. Your tools have to be kept secured under your sole exclusive control.
All right, heading into our final section. Number 6, benefits of timely renewal.
Aside from, avoiding massive legal trouble, getting your renewal done properly and early actually has some really great tangible benefits. If you renew right at that 90-day mark, you guarantee there are absolutely no gaps in your professional status, meaning you can just keep legally serving your clients without missing a beat. But if you do happen to hit a snag, maybe the online portal throws some weird error or your unique ID number just isn't pulling up, seriously, don't panic. You can always contact the Department of State's Division of Licensing Services directly. Their number is 518-474-4429. Just make sure you have your unique ID ready when you call so they can help you sort it out smoothly.
Finally, always remember that laws, and digital portals for that matter, change. So always be sure to verify the latest requirements with official New York State resources or your legal advisor. All right, taking everything we just covered into account, I want to leave you with one final thought. If the Secretary of State audited your notary journal tomorrow morning, would your records hold up to the law? Go start your renewal today, secure those supplies, and keep stamping with total confidence.